It's a really common misconception that meditation means a blank mind, that you have gotten rid of everything except what is in your direct awareness. The human brain is designed to think. So if you are alive, you are thinking. And we can absolutely train our minds to have moments of stillness, but they don't last for anyone. Even for those of us who are very practiced at it, the thoughts will come. And so, what the mindfulness practice teaches is that when the thoughts come, I call it the thought train or a thought tornado, you don't have to get on the train. My name is Koelle Williams, and this is my advice. I have struggled with depression and anxiety off and on my whole life. And I started in 2012 to do some meditation practices, but nothing really stuck. I didn't have a consistent practice until 2018. And what happened to bring me to a consistent practice was that in 2017, I had an aunt that I was very close to who died suddenly. And then in 2018, about 9 months later, my dad died after a lengthy battle with cancer. And I had, a number of life circumstances that were going on at that time that were just kind of compounding my grief, and was using some really unhealthy coping strategies and realized that I didn't want to live like that anymore. And so I sought counseling, and the counselor that I have been seeing, I'm still seeing her, she uses a lot of mindfulness practices in her therapy. So it's not traditional talk therapy. It's a lot of getting in touch with, your inner needs and your inner child, and kind of what is going on with you at any given moment. And she actually led me to a woman named Julie, who owned a mindfulness business. And Julie offered a mindfulness course, and I brought that to my place of employment actually for my department. We took a 6 weeks mindfulness course with each other, and I then actually started attending a meditation group on Saturday mornings that Julie offered, and along with another co-facilitator that she worked with. And I did that regularly on the weekends, and then also was continuing my own daily practice at that time. Mindfulness is a buzzword. It's big. Everybody talks about mindfulness, and I think there are mindfulness can mean a lot of different things. It can mean meditation, sitting on your cushion. That's the formal practice when we sit down and we close our eyes and take some deep breaths. And there's different types of meditations that you can do to be mindful, anchor into the present moment. Or we can use kind of informal practices, which is just day to day being aware of what we're doing in any given moment, being present. And those are, for me, I do have a daily practice where I sit formally on my cushion. I actually sit on my couch with my cat, and it's lovely. It's my favorite time of the day. But the informal practices that I use throughout the day, I think, are the most transformative, because they are the way that we integrate the practice into our daily life and really use what we've learned on the cushion when we're sitting. So something like that would be, examples would be like when you're driving and then you get stressed because the traffic is crazy and you're running late and the person behind you is on your tail or whatever. Just taking a moment to feel the steering wheel and think, okay, this is what the leather feels like under my hands. Or feel the heat coming off the seat. I love the heated seats in the car. Like, okay, my back is warm, my bottom is warm. Or at a stoplight thinking, okay, I'm at a stoplight, I have 30 seconds. I can take 2 deep breaths and I can watch my breath as it goes in and down and as it comes out and out. And just taking those moments feels insignificant individually, but over time, that all really adds up to a whole lot of presence that we don't normally have in our lives. One of the practices that I use the most often is called body scanning. It's just a really simple way. It requires no skill. You cannot do it wrong. Really, you can't do any meditation wrong. That's a thing too. But you just go through your body, and you can start at the top or you can start at the bottom, and just kind of name your body and see if you can feel into that part, or if possible, also you can see if you can relax it. So like I like to start at my feet, because for me, a lot of times the anxiety is in my head. It's stress, it's thoughts, it's that thought tornado that's going on. And so I think if I start at my feet, that's as far away from my head as I can get. And so I will just say to myself, okay, feel my feet on the floor. I'm going to feel my ankles, feel my back against the chair, feel my hands in my lap. And just doing that, if I can relax in that moment, it gives me a chance to kind of settle the thinking. And there are times when I do it very, very detailed, and other times when it's just a real quick, scan. And the lovely thing about that is that no one needs to know you're doing it. When you're sitting in the doctor's office or you're sitting anywhere, I can sit right here, right now with you and say, Kelly, just feel your feet. Literally grounding. And that's a term that is used often, and I think like that's very apt. We're grounding into feeling the anchoring of ourselves in the present moment. It's not realistic to try to be present all the time. Our brains are just not made that way. Our brains are made to plan or to remember. And so we are, as human beings, constantly living in this fluctuation between the future and the past. But in that is where our stress lies. Am I prepared enough? Did I do the right thing? Those kinds of conversations that we all ruminate in our head all the time. And when we can just come into the present moment and say, I am okay right now, I have everything I need right now, then we can eliminate some of that chatter that kind of pulls us out of the present moment. And this is what I love about mindfulness too, is that mindfulness makes space for everything. So like there's no real goal to get rid of any part of us necessarily. It's just to accept it. And I think that that is one of the most important things that I've learned. I've learned a lot of really important things in this journey. But one of the most important things is that it's okay, all of it. So if I'm thinking and I catch myself thinking about the future and planning something that I have no control over, it's okay. And I just say, oh, I'm telling myself a story, or, oh, I'm thinking about that again. And then I can stop at any given moment. And whereas in the past, I would have said things to myself like, not nice things, like berate myself for not being present. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You're dwelling on things, Kelly, or we talk to ourselves really harshly. And the mindfulness practice has really shown me that it's not necessary. I don't need to talk to myself so harshly because this is just very human. This is just what it is. A teacher that I follow, his name is Jack Kornfield. He's one of my favorites. And he says, as soon as you recognize that you're off the path, you're back on it. So as soon as I notice that I'm not being mindful, that I'm thinking about something ahead of time or I'm ruminating about something, then I'm present again. When we're not worrying about the future and we're not worrying about the past, then we are able to really attend to whatever is happening right now. And one of the tenets of mindfulness is impermanence, right? So everything changes. Nothing stays constant. And then there's the acceptance of that everything changes. And so we spend a lot of time clinging to things. We want the good times to stay, and we want the bad times to go. And that's very human too. We push pain away and we hold on to the things that we love, and neither is healthy. And neither is realistic, because we can't make pain go away. Pain is part of the human experience, and you can't hold on to joy. And so for me, the notions of impermanence and acceptance really have allowed me to very tenderly hold it all, that the bad times will not last. They will end. I will be okay. And neither will the good times. And so I want to hold that just as tenderly, because it's going to leave too. It all comes and goes.